Huddled at the bar in Oval Space, a hangar-style venue in Bethnal Green, East London, two balaclava-clad men ordered drinks. It was 4 a.m. on August 30th, 2022, and the Red Cup party, billed as an after-party to Notting Hill Carnival, had entered its final hour. One of those masked men was Chris Kaba, a member of 6-7, a notorious street gang based in Brixton Hill. Are you ready for the big game but worried about more than your team's defence? While you're cheering from the couch, cyber threats are lurking like a rival fan in the stands. Watching football without a trusted VPN is like dribbling past defenders without a ball. ExpressVPN is your trusted VPN service that provides a secure, encrypted connection between your device and the internet. Your browsing history, passwords, personal files, and even financial transactions are protected with military-grade encryption, making it virtually impossible for hackers to intercept or steal your information. No more worrying about companies tracking your data or advertisers bombarding you with targeted ads. Think of it as your secret sauce that keeps your streaming tastes from private eyes. Not only that, using ExpressVPN also allows me to watch the football when I'm abroad. So, whether it's Liverpool when in Lisbon or catching Arsenal in Alicante, you'll never miss a minute. With servers in over 90 countries, their coverage is unmatched. So don't risk your sensitive information being exposed on unsecured networks. Stay protected with ExpressVPN, the leading VPN provider that prioritizes your privacy and security. Protect your data and surf with confidence wherever you go. Find out how you can get 3 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/OCGTV today. The 1,500 revellers paid little attention to Kaba and Connell Bamboy, a music producer and 6-7 associate. A third friend entered along with them, Marcus Pottinger. He was a valuable ally because he had previously worked at the club. The men consumed nitrous oxide in the queue before some were frisked by door staff. Pottinger embraced former colleagues, then breezed past security with a handgun stashed in a bag. As the masked duo skulked on the dance floor, Kaba clocked a man named Brandon Malucci, a 25-year-old who was believed to belong to 1-7, a rival gang from Wandsworth Road. A fourth member of the 6-7 group, Shemaiah Bell, known as Bones because of his dog bone-shaped necklace, passed the bag to Kaba. He slipped his hand into a glove and gripped the gun. CCTV footage caught the moment the positivity turned into pandemonium when Kaba opened fire and a bullet hit the victim's left leg. As fellow clubbers darted for cover, the victim fled the club. Kaba chased him down the street and allegedly fired 3 more bullets, one of which pierced the man's right leg. He collapsed on the pavement, and Kaba is said to have left in a hired Range Rover. The victim was filmed in remarkable CCTV footage, staggering over to a parked car while blood drips from his wounds. He ultimately survived the shooting and was taken to hospital. He discharged himself and refused to cooperate with detectives. Kaba's group had arrived in an Audi Q8 driven by Shemaiah Bell, who returned to the area the next day to pick it up. He would later drop it off at the home of Chris Kaba. 5 days later, late in the evening on September 4th, witnesses heard gunshots near a primary school in Brixton. Later, a woman reported seeing 4 men wearing balaclavas exiting a vehicle. One had a very large shotgun stuffed down his trousers. Police were dispatched but couldn't find anyone that had been injured. No firearm had been recovered either. The suspects reportedly changed their clothes and escaped in 2 clean vehicles. However, a witness took down the number plate for one of the cars and alerted the police. The car? A blue Audi Q8. The following day, now September 5th, Kaba visited his mother in Peckham and the pair had dinner. At 7 p.m, firearms officers were briefed at the start of their 12-hour shift. They were told about the Brixton shooting, how the gun was still outstanding, and that their suspects were at large. A police firearms marker had been placed on the Audi Q8. police intelligence indicated a ride-out, that the gang were looking for enemies with intent to cause them harm. Later that evening, Kaba said he was going to visit a friend. He hugged his mother and set off in the Audi. It would be the last time she would see him alive. At 9:51 p.m, a firearms officer sitting in the back of an unmarked Volvo named Alpha spotted the Audi driving towards them in Camberwell. He informed his two colleagues of what he had seen and beckoned them to get in the car. He had recognized the number plate circulating at the briefing. At 9:55 p.m, a firearms incident was declared. The officers were unaware of the driver's identity when they began the silent follow. An armed response vehicle named Foxtrot was stationed in Streatham Hill and ready to join the three-car convoy. The operational firearms commander gave directions of the tactic and enforced stop with extraction. Some officers believed the driver did not know he was being pursued, but his convoluted route suggested that he was aware. Their suspicions proved correct. At 9:57 p.m, Kaba phoned his friend and said, "Listen one sec, I think there are police behind me." Dashcam footage showed Kaba turning right off Brixton Hill onto New Park Road. Moments later, he turned left into Kirkstall Gardens, where police marksman Martin Blake and two colleagues were stationed in the marked car. By now, 6 police vehicles and a helicopter with night vision recording ability had joined the tactical operation. An officer in the car behind Kaba gave the instruction, "We're going to do it here. In line, in line, in line." The ARV emerged from behind a white Tesla and drove forward while the unmarked Volvo boxed Kaba in from behind. One marksman got out of the unmarked police car and tried to open the Audi's front passenger door, but found it was locked. Video showed him striking the front passenger side window with the barrel of his semi-automatic gun to get a reaction from the driver. Kaba's right arm was seen on the steering wheel while his left arm shielded his head. Officers shouted, "Armed police, show us your hands," as they surrounded the Audi. Kaba tried to escape, driving forward into a gap between a marked armed police vehicle and a parked white Tesla, but became wedged. He then reversed and hit an unmarked police car. The scene was fraught and frantic, as seen in the footage released to the media last week. At 10:07 p.m, 2 marksmen raised their SIG Sauer semi-automatic carbines in the same second, but it was Blake who fired a single shot which pierced the windscreen and struck Kaba in the forehead. It was the first time since joining the firearms team in 2016 that he had fired at a suspect. Officers performed CPR and Kaba was taken to hospital, where he died at 12:12 a.m. The Met referred itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, which sent investigators to the scene. The police watchdog would later launch a murder investigation against the marksman who pulled the trigger. The case has divided the public in the UK, with strong opinion on either side of the fence. Many hold sympathy with the police and the huge decisions they have to make in a split second. Others point to a sinister pattern emerging when it comes to the victim demographic of police shootings. Since 2005, 4 men who were unarmed at the point they faced armed police have been shot dead by the Met in non-terrorist operations. They are Kaba, Jermaine Baker in 2015, Mark Duggan in 2011 and Azelle Rodney in 2005. All were black, a fact that is significant for some and coincidental for others. The court case against Martin Blake brought additional details to the public domain about the intelligence police had on Kaba. The year before he was killed, Kaba was released from custody after being sentenced to 4 years in a young offenders institution for possession of an imitation firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. Kaba fired a sawn-off shotgun outside a party in Canning Town, East London, in the early hours of December 30th, 2017. No one was hurt. He was sentenced at Snaresbrook Crown Court in January 2019. This was one of 6 criminal convictions. His first, aged 13, was for possession of a kitchen knife after a large fight. In June 2012, he was handed a youth referral order. Later that year in October, he was convicted of wounding with intent and sentenced to 2 years in a young offenders institution. A burglary conviction for steaming, a term used to describe mass theft or shoplifting a mobile phone shop in 2013, resulted in a youth rehabilitation order. In August 2015, Kaba and 3 friends, including Bamboy, were involved in a gang-motivated knife attack. A well-known rival who relentlessly taunted 6-7 in rap videos was targeted in Carphone Warehouse on Streatham High Road. Witnesses described the scene as a bloodbath. The victim suffered multiple stab wounds and a broken arm. On his 19th birthday, Kaba participated in an unlicensed music event in Romford, located in East London. During the event, tensions escalated, resulting in Kaba being stabbed in the abdomen amidst a confrontation. As he attempted to flee the scene, Bamboy and another individual were shot. Medical personnel attended to Kaba's injuries, but he declined to assist with the police inquiry. The factors that led Kaba into a life of crime remain unclear. He was raised by his Congolese parents alongside his younger brothers in various residences throughout southeast London. Family members characterized him as lively and noted that he frequently took his siblings to football matches. Friends described him as a humorous individual who had the ability to light up a room. At the time of his passing, Kaba was reportedly residing in a halfway house and employed in the construction industry. He was also expecting to become a father. However, in April 2022, the mother of his child secured a domestic violence protection order against him, which was enforced for a duration of 28 days. Their daughter was born in the autumn. Prosecutors described Kaba as a core member of the group 6-7, which claimed to be at the forefront of UK drill music, a rap genre that originated in Chicago, United States during the early 2010s. Kaba was known in the music scene by the name Mad Itch or Itch. Drill music is often marked by its provocative and at times violent lyrics set against trap-style beats, with artists frequently expressing bravado or recounting their lived experiences and criminal activities. The music videos produced by 6-7 have amassed millions of views on YouTube, and in 2016 they received a nomination for the Best Newcomer Award at the MOBO Awards. However, despite this recognition, the court was later informed that 6-7 operated as an organized crime network that utilized social media to showcase their illegal lifestyles. They were reported to have access to weapons, manpower, and funds from drug activities. The primary currency of 6-7 was described as violence, both group and individual violence involving firearms and knives. Their reputation and status have always relied on the promotion and public display of their violent actions. Drug trafficking constituted a significant portion of 6-7's income, and the gang was involved in county lines operations, with several members having been convicted of drug and firearms-related crimes. Back in Streatham Hill, as news spread of a young black man being shot dead by the police, recriminations grew when the IOPC confirmed that no weapon had been found in his car. Activists mobilized and the #Justice for Chris Kaba campaign was born. A week after Kaba's death, detectives linked the Audi to the Oval Space nightclub shooting. 6 suspects, including Bamboy, Bell and Pottinger, were arrested over a 6-week period. It's understood that the Met knew about the blue Audi Q8 in May 2022 when it was involved in a shooting in Bromley, South London. The car was used to collect a shotgun before 2 men were shot in the legs. The named insured driver, who was not Kaba, played an active role in the shooting and was still at large while another male had been arrested. The incident was logged and the tactical firearms officer was said to be aware of the link as they pursued Kaba on that fateful day. Bell and Pottinger remained silent during police interviews. Bamboy accepted that he visited the club but denied any knowledge of a gun or the shooting. When they stood trial at the Old Bailey in November 2023, the jury was told that Kaba had played a leading role in the shooting. He was named as a co-conspirator on the indictment, and prosecutors said he would have been tried had he been alive. However, a court order has prevented the media from reporting this until after the trial of Martin Blake. Pottinger and Bell were found guilty of wounding with intent. All three men were convicted of possession of a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. The trio were all cleared of attempted murder. 3 other men were acquitted of the charges against them. Bell was jailed for 10 years. Pottinger received a 9-year term, while Bamboy was sentenced to 5.5 years. During the trial of Martin Blake, the jury heard how Blake was from a middle-class background, a vicarious reader who first worked in finance before joining the Met to escape a desk job. In court, Blake relied in part on a defense that so stressful and rapid were the events that some of his errors were the result of a psychological phenomenon called perceptual distortion, which leads to errors in memory. He was found not guilty after a 3-year deliberation and walked out of the Old Bailey as a free man. When drawing conclusions from the story, one must consider, is Kaba's criminal past relevant? An imperfect victim is still a victim. Why should young black men have to be squeaky clean to escape police brutality? After all, he was shot in the head by an institution that is meant to protect civilians. That said, Kaba's criminal history is relevant. It offers the best explanation for why he behaved the way he did. He didn't pull over when he was told to by the police because he was a wanted criminal and did not want to face the consequences of his actions. Nor were police officers following Kaba out of racial animosity. The Audi he was driving was used as a getaway car in a shooting in Brixton the previous night. The police, in following him, were doing their job. They were faced with a driver who refused to stop and instead used the car to ram others out of the way. The case may at least lead to some legal reform. Last year, firearms officers went on strike due to concerns that the authorities are too ready to pursue them for using force. Officers, they said, did not feel confident that they would be properly supported. This lack of confidence may ultimately put the public at risk if firearms officers are hesitant to willingly place themselves in scenarios where force may become necessary. Reform is therefore most welcome. Find out how you can get 3 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/OCGTV today.